And welcome back to the Nita Black Show. Yes, it's raining again, but um, my pain level is still doing okay, so I'm going to get through this one. Um, you guys have asked a lot of questions about the next person that we're going to speak on, and so many questions that, like the Beyonce video, we're going to have to do this one in part one and part two, because some of your questions pertain um, to marriage, but the other questions pertain to relationships in general. So we're going to break it down into the two. Um, you know how we do. You gotta go ahead and like and subscribe and all that good stuff. I'm going to put the links in the description to the economics handbook, because you guys have asked about that one. So I'll put each of the economic handbooks from zero point 0.1 that tells you some of the things that you can do, and then 1, 2, and 3, Economic Handbook 1, Economic Handbook 2, and Economic Handbook 3, so that it breaks down for you some of the things that are going on uh, with finances, jobs, income, and the stock market, all that good stuff, and what you can do to actually improve your situation, whatever your situation is. So I'll put those in the links over the next few videos. But thanks for liking, thanks for subscribing, and you guys know that if you have people that you're saying, my sister would need to hear this, or my brother need to hear this, and you guys are telling me, my son, my daughter need to hear this, feel free to go ahead and share it with them. That way they don't have to, send an email or send a message or anything and wait for us to get around to whatever their question is. If they have a question and we've already covered it, go ahead and share the video that you feel is pertaining to them. Go ahead and share it with them, and that way they can get some of their questions asked, and then when they do ask a question, it'll be about something that was not covered yet. Okay, so feel free to share the videos with your brother, sister, um, you know, a son, daughter, husband, wife, whatever, and we appreciate you doing that. All right, the person we're going to talk about today is Mr. Steve Harvey. And we're going to talk about, I know you guys have had a lot of questions about him and his third wife, Marjorie, sorry. And we're going to talk about, seriously, when it's time to leave your marriage. I know you guys have been raised with people that said, you're supposed to be married till death do you part. You have some people that are taking that part out of that. But you have people that, have told you that you're supposed to be that ride or die uh, guy, or that ride or die chick, girl. And you're supposed to stay no matter what. So we're going to tell you exactly what they're saying when they say that. What they're saying, and they don't really know that they're saying it, what they're saying when they say you're supposed to stay no matter what, that really means no matter what, if you're female, no matter what your husband does to you, your children, your family, people are telling you unknowingly that you're supposed to stay with that person. So you have a lot of females that have stayed with that person until, they died, their child died, the man committed murder, suicide, killed everybody. You know, there's women getting beaten, getting, messed around. And I told you guys I'm going to give you a video, at least one, where I break down some stuff that I've been through in my life, where if I had listened to people, I'd actually be dead by now. So I'm going to get into that with you on a video, because I know you guys have a lot of questions about that, especially those of you that know me. But you're telling people this, and you need to stop. You need to make it a point to stop telling people that they're supposed to stay in a miserable marriage no matter what. People make mistakes, and sometimes you wake up the next day after marriage and realize that you made a mistake. You married for the wrong reasons. You married because you like the sex with the person, or you like the person. You married because you were tired of being alone, or you married because of financial stuff. You have, guys that have been in marriages until they committed suicide. Went through depression, all this kind of stuff because family and friends told them they're supposed to, you're not a man if you leave. You're supposed to be with this person till death do you part. No good man would leave his wife and children. But the thing is that you got a lot of guys that when they're young, they get married because of three reasons. They get married because either, like I said, they're tired of being alone. Two, everybody else is getting married and telling them that it's their turn. It's time for them to get married. And the other one is because they're basically, they like someone. They're not in love with that person, but they like them. And they don't want anybody else, having to take that person from them, and the person gives them an ultimatum. So they go ahead and reluctantly get married, and they try to go along with all of the, they smile and go along with all of the things. But you have women talk all the time about how a guy really wasn't into the planning, wasn't into, the appointments for making, picking out stuff. That's a guy that's saying, okay, I'll get married, but I don't want to be involved in all that stuff. When a man is in love, truly, truly in love with a woman, he actually does a lot of planning. He really does. He does. He loves it. He loves the whole wedding planning thing because he gets to pick out the stuff for the person that he loves, more than anything. And so, there's a lot of people. When I was growing up and where I went to school, almost everybody except for two couples, almost everybody, and they were in their 80s, everybody got married because somebody got pregnant. Some people were tired of being alone, or people just married for sex and pretended it was true love until they realized it wasn't, and then they were just the men would sit around and talk about the females and other females that they would like to be with, and the women would sit around and talk about the men, badly, and what they don't do and what they wish they do and all this good stuff. So when you get to a point where you're thinking about leaving your marriage, whether you're male or female, if you're a guy and you're wondering, should I leave? Is it the right thing to do? There are three reasons that any person, should be seriously talking to an attorney and getting ready to end their marriage. Even if they're friends or whatever, you can try to stay friends afterwards as long as you keep it civil. But there are three things that you need to really look into. If your wife is abusive, whether verbally abusive or, like to fight, whatever, you need to end that marriage, okay? If you realize that you made a mistake and you really, really are miserable, you're suffering from depression, you just feel sad all the time, you need to leave that marriage. You would do much better on your own with you guys just being friends. You probably were supposed to just stay friends in the first place and not go into a marriage. I told you, some people are supposed to be brother and sister, not husband and wife. The other part is if you're in a marriage and you keep looking for other people, you keep cheating, or you keep, messing with other people, or looking at other females, thinking about other females, you want to be with other females, you need to leave that marriage because you're still looking for love and you haven't found it yet. Same thing with the females. If your husband is abusive, whether verbally, physically, whatever, you need to leave that marriage. If you know that you made a mistake, you feel like you made a mistake, there's no way around it, something you married for the wrong reasons, or the person is just not the person that you thought they were, you need to leave that marriage. And when it comes to a person, many people, women are easier to be monogamous, but if you're thinking about being with somebody else or you wish you were with somebody else, it's time to leave. Okay, so I hope that answers you guys' questions. As far as Steve and Miss Marjorie, uh, Steve is very difficult for him because he has the fame and whatnot. There's plenty of women out there. So Miss Marjorie is going to have issues where he's too close to people. But Steve is looking for love. He's looking for that person that makes him feel, good, makes him feel that heart, that schoolboy crush type thing. And until he finds it, it's going to be difficult for any female that gets with him. So whether or not they get divorced, that's time will tell. They may stick in there because of the money. But when they're getting to the point where they feel like they should, chances are it's time for him to leave the marriage and go ahead and just enjoy his success. It's time for her to go ahead and enjoy her life. Marriage is not something that should be to death do you part if both of you are miserable. Okay, so I hope that answers your questions. You know how we do. If I'm still here next time, we're going to deal with some things. Bye.